Good evening. The board now convenes this meeting of the Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees. In open session on Monday, March 30th, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. at the Zeller Center for Learning and Leadership. I am Delion English, President of the Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees. On the board's behalf, I'd like to welcome all who are present and to our video viewers. Let me introduce my fellow trustees and staff. Seated to my right is Ms. Leanna Harding, our Vice President, Mr. Cooper Beezus, who is currently unavailable, Trustee Christopher Williams, and our Superintendent, Dr. Lowell Strike. To my left is seated Trustee Alex Flores, our Secretary, Trustee Stephanie Gregg, who is currently unavailable, and Trustee Melissa Meyer. For the Superintendent's leadership team, we have present the following: Deputy Superintendent Matthew Gutierrez, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Learning Services, Cindy Micka, Chief Financial Officer Grant Anderson, Director of Facilities and Construction Rod Reeves, Director of Communication Services and Community Relations Pat Robbins, and Director of Technology, Integration and Media Service Russell Van Hoos. The trustees as a body of corporation have the exclusive power and duty to govern and oversee the management of the public schools of the district. The board's responsibilities and duty is to assure the public that the district resources are being used efficiently and effectively. The board's role in management oversight shall be to ensure the integrity and performance of all major management systems, including but not limited to finance, human resources, technology, transportation, food services, custodial grounds, safety security, construction management, and facilities management. Leadership, management, and operational responsibilities are charged to the superintendent of schools. For the public, this is a working session meeting which allows the public to discuss the board discuss the business of the district. For the citizens input portion of our agenda, the board has made available public comment cards that are accepted at or before the regular meeting begins. Cards are not accepted after the meeting has started. All cards will be collected and given to the board secretary or a representative who represents the speaker during the meeting. With that said, I'd like to introduce a roll call, please.
Dr. Lowell Strike.
Present.
Mr. Christopher Williams.
Present.
Ms. Leanna Harding.
Here.
Mr. Delion English.
Present.
Mr. Alejandro Flores.
Present.
Ms. Melissa Meyer.
Here.
And that person is Stephanie Gregg and Mr. Cooper Beezus.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas Pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, one God, one indivisible.
All right. First item of business, approval of minutes. Discuss and approve workshop meeting minutes from 3/16/2005, 2015. And so moved. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Is there any discussion? If no discussion, all those in favor of approval of minutes from 3/16/2015, please say aye. Aye. Raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, citizen input too, in case there was any.
Okay. Oh, let me go back to that. I've been corrected. The superintendent is correct. We will step back to the citizen input. Is there any citizen input at this point? There is none. Thank you very much, Dr. Wright. All right, move on to item 6, Superintendent Spotlight.
At this time, we'll welcome the principal at Oak Point Elementary. She will introduce her spotlight time.
Good evening to school board members and Dr. Strike. Thank you so much for allowing Oak Point to be spotlighted tonight. We feel very blessed that our school, one of 3, were chosen to implement project-based learning, also known as PBL. And we have implemented that school-wide this year, K through 5th, in our science and social studies. And I have rockstar teachers. Melissa Reed is one of my first grade teachers. She's a rock star in every capacity. And she and another teacher, and she's ill today, so she can't be here. Ms. Zayas is a bilingual second grade teacher, put together this video that we want to share with you tonight. It's very informational, and if you have any questions, we're here to answer questions. And I wanted to let you know that at the end of the year, since this is our first full year of implementation, that we plan on getting with our students and doing a second video to reflect on their learning and their ideas and their opinions about PBL. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Clark, principal at Oak Point Elementary. If you walked into our PBL classroom, you will see everyone is engaged in authentic learning. They are able to articulate what they are working on and why they are learning it while mastering our state standards. School is about learning about the real world and developing 21st century skills such as collaborating, critical thinking, creating, and communication skills. Students love project-based learning. They are retaining information that they are researching and are collaborating and sharing their learning within groups. It gives students a passion about what they are learning. Teachers provide our students with a pre-assessment based on our standards so that they can plan their instruction based on the strengths and needs of our students. They differentiate by providing workshops and DIYs and consistently complete formative assessments throughout the process. They never take group grades. They only grade progress made toward individual achievement. Last year, our design team worked diligently on a plan for PBL learning to take place at Oak Point. We brainstormed where we wanted our learning spaces to be located, and we knew we needed to expand areas in our building to provide for soft seating and areas for collaboration.
In our school, we use the Engaged Learning Model with our PBL projects. The Engaged Learning Model has 5 components that are called protocols. The protocols are launch theme, plan, research work, create critique, and share. The first one is the launch theme protocol. The teacher leads the launch protocol. Before launch of a project, students take a quick pre-assessment to check for background knowledge. Then we have a hook activity in which the students make connections between the project topic and their real lives. The hook is that special moment that captures students' interest to learn more about the topic. Hooks can include an event, experience, a guest speaker, a video clip, news summary, or an article. During our launch theme protocol, the students are presented with the challenge brief and project rubric. The challenge brief is a document that outlines the challenge and includes the context for the problem they need to solve, the audience, driving questions, and project requirements. The project requirements are based on the TICs. The driving question is a question the students need to answer in order to solve the problem. This question is open-ended, standard-based, and real-world related. The rubric is the criteria of how students will be assessed on their final products or solution of the problems. After discussing the challenge brief and the rubric with the students meet with their teams. They choose a team name. Members agree to perform different roles, such as project leader, time manager, workshop manager, materials manager, and communication manager. Project leader facilitates the team as they establish norms for working together. Team members sign a team contract. The second protocol is plan. At this time, students analyze and highlight the challenge brief. The teacher will be asking questions to check for understanding. The students will identify the driving question, audience, and record everything on their project plan. Then, they will analyze the rubric and establish team goals for the project. The team will complete a know and need to know list based on problem analysis and needs assessments. Each team will create research questions based on the need to know. Then assign a question to each team member to research.
The third protocol is research work. During this protocol, students create and work on a to-do list individually. They may use different resources to gather their research in order to complete their to-do list. Some of the resources students use are books, internet, interviews, and videos. During this time, the facilitator offers workshops and DIYs, or do-it-yourself, for students to participate in order to help answer their need-to-knows. At the end of each day, students come back together with their groups to share what all they learned that day. The fourth protocol is create critique. During create critique, groups request a crit or feedback from peers, their teacher, or even their real audience early and often. Groups then use their feedback to make changes and refinements if needed. Each team then completes a presentation proposal. The team then meets with the teacher to receive approval for their product or presentation for share. Upon receiving approval, students then begin creating their product or presentation. The final protocol of the engaged learning model is share. The share protocol allows each group to present to an authentic audience. Sometimes the authentic audience are other classes or grade levels, community members, or parents. After each group presents, the audience has the opportunity to ask clarifying questions. The share protocol is a very crucial step in the process because it allows students to share what all they learned, and it makes students feel accomplished because they took ownership of their own learning. For example, this year, students created their own augmented reality for their PBL on Community Helpers. Students were able to bring their products to life using the app Erasmus. We then invited other grade level classes to come learn about Community Helpers. Students were then able to share their presentations. PBL has a positive effect on student content knowledge and the development of skills such as collaboration, critical thinking, and problem solving. It benefits students by increasing their motivation and engagement. We have noticed students who typically struggle are more motivated to work harder and get involved. Students are always eager to work on or begin a new PBL.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looks fun.
And I want to personally say that I enjoyed the opportunity to come out to visit Oak Point, and thank you for welcoming us when we come out to visit. So it's always nice to go out and visit the schools and see the kids and see what's going on in the school system. So we appreciate that. Wonderful video. All right. Next up, Little Elm High School Student of the Month.
This time, we introduce Mr. Pentecost.
Good evening,
Good
Mr.
evening.
English, Dr. Strike, and board members. This is the highlight of my month. I get to come and introduce a couple of our great students to you. This evening, we have two of our students here with us, and the first one that I'm going to call up is Norma Trejo. one of our active DECA members. She was the only student who went to state competition and came back to Little Elm High School as an award winner. Her project was a 30-page essay on hospitality and tourism. She is a senior, and her plans are to study advertising and marketing. She hasn't quite narrowed down the college of choice. She's still applying and looking into University of Houston, University of North Texas, and hopes to get that narrowed down soon. In between working 2 jobs and being a full-time student, this young lady is very busy and making positive things happen at Little Elm High School. So, Norma. And then our second student of the month is Jacob Scroggins. Jacob is a junior, and he's most active in football. Last Monday, when we thought we were going to come get to visit with y'all, he actually opted to miss his 7-on-7 football game that night, and Coach Brown was very supportive of that and had lots of great things to say about this young man. He plans on going to Texas A&M and be in the court and wants to study biomedical science and economics. Is taken a number of AP classes and a very good student. So, Jacob. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to both the students. That's wonderful what you guys are moving forward and achieving. Continue, you put your best foot forward and continue your efforts, and you'll be fruitful in moving forward. So, wonderful job.
Why does it have too many greens on the
Superintendent, anything else? Good? All right. At this time, the board will recess into closed meeting in the professional development room as permitted by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Code Subchapter 551.074 and 551.071 at 6:47. All right. At 7:16, we're open the working session. All right. Action items. Number 8, discuss and consider action on recommendations for Executive Director of Human Resources.
Good evening. The administration recommends approval of the individual discussed during closed meeting for the position of Executive Director of Human Resource Services.
Is there a motion for approval of Executive Director of Human Resources as recommended by staff?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? With no discussion, all those in favor of the recommendation, please raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries for Executive Director.
Thank you. I am pleased to announce our new Executive Director of Human Resource Services, who will be joining us from Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD, Mr. Ross Roberts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9, consent agenda. We have several items on the consent agenda. Is there any concern from the board? Discussion from the board? No discussion from the board. Have a motion for approval of consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Is there any further discussion about the consent agenda?
No.
If there's no further discussion about consent agenda, all those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda motion carries. Next item, item 10, reports of president. Discuss possible dates for board operating procedures. I went through and had an opportunity to look at the board operating procedures, which were provided by Mrs. Gregg There were still 2 sections in the board operating procedures that needed to be revamped. Went through and looked at those pieces, put those into the board operating procedures, and started revamping those. I most likely will have that available next week. In doing so, I would like the help of Ms. Melissa Myers to help me and assist me in getting all this information put together and stuff so we can present to the board. Next meeting, what I would like to do is present to the board and also create a PowerPoint for the board to look at each one of the sections in its summary format, and then ask any questions that you may have from that, and then move from there from the board operating procedures. For the public, one of the important aspects is board operating procedures to help us understand and work with our meeting structures. It helps those individuals who are new to the board understand what are some of the board rules, policies, and procedures. We're putting that into legalized written form. What that means is once it comes back to the board and then the board is approved, we'll send it over to the superintendent's office. The superintendent would have an opportunity to do their reviews and edits, ask questions, and then from there it'll come back to the board for final approval. But this is an important step to ensure that, as a board, we hold ourselves accountable as a board. So, really important step moving forward. And I want to say thank you for the board and staff for all your support in this process. It's been a long process. We've been, about 3 or 4 months into this? About 3 or 4 months into this, so it takes a little bit of time to get all that written up. Right now, I think we're at about 60 or 70 pages, so.
How many?
60 or 70 pages. A little light reading. A little detailed. Some of the interesting sections, of course, we have the checklist, which will allow for new members who are coming aboard to have a checklist of some of the things they have to do, which includes training, options there, and understanding what the policy and procedures, and basically some of the governance around how we operate as a board, meeting governance, et cetera. So it's actually a really good document. I'm actually proud of the way it's kind of coming out. So a lot of detailed information. So get your trustees, please get your reading hats on, because you're gonna have some reading to do. And Dr. Strike, good luck on that one.
We'll do it.
All right. Next item, discussing the board goals. There was a discussion about board goals. We had originally decided that we would potentially move the Team of 8 training to after the election. However, there's a desire to come up with the board goals prior to that. So here's the cycle we have. We have Dr. Strike, which joined us in January. We're actually going through our strategic planning portion right now, as well as the facility use plan, which will come out in June, July timeframe. We've kind of outlined some of the things we want there, which is strategic plan, facility use plan. But coming into the year 2015, 2016, the question is about goals from that point, and then goals for the year, and a lot of this is beyond for the superintendent's evaluation and that standpoint of view. So, excuse me, the idea was to potentially have a board retreat in April, so we can talk about the board goals as well as the board operating procedures and anything else that we may have. And then want to have a discussion around that. Is there any concern about potentially having that around in the April timeframe?
I don't have any concern about April. I think Dr. Strike had mentioned in an email, but about doing it probably before, or possibly before a board meeting or workshop, maybe doing an hour or something before that, and then delaying maybe the meeting to 7.
Yeah, I think you could go either way. If you wanted to at least get a start on the goals, you're not going to probably accomplish it once, in one setting, doing it that way. You could start the board meeting early. I was looking at that April 20th was a suggestion I made simply because we have a lot of reports on the 13th, probably more than we had just coming in the spring. I know we talked about this morning in the superintendent's leadership team, lots of board reports, but not necessarily action items, which means when you come to the 20th, there's not going to be a lot there in terms of action. Most of it's going to be done the 13th, so I'm thinking that's a pretty compact meeting, having that regular meeting the next week. Okay. So if there was a desire to either start early, you'd be done, then you could go into the board goals, eat, do all that. Okay. If you wanted to wait to do that.
You're talking about the 20th, right?
Right. Yeah, and I'm fine scheduling another day as well. I just thought it might make it easier just for everybody to be able to attend and have input.
month. So April 20th. So we're thinking April 20th, we come in maybe an hour or two prior on
Yeah,
April 20th.
It's up to the board.
Okay.
You can either do it prior, or you can do the board meeting, adjourn early, and
Yeah.
then go into, have your meal at that time rather than during closed, and then come back and start your
Yeah,
board
makes
goals
sense.
conversation that
Yeah.
night.
Mr. Williams, what do you think?
Yeah, 20th works.
20th works for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's after that, 15th.
Mr. Hardy?
As long as it's-
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd probably recommend we start the board meeting maybe at 6 o'clock on the 20th. Start just a little bit early, and then go through the regular board meeting, close out the session, and then go into the board goals session on the 20th. That way, it just kind of flows into the goal, and maybe take an hour or two going through the board goals on the 20th. Maybe a little bit longer than usual, but that probably would be sufficient.
That gets you a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Is about that? Okay. So we'll set board goals meeting on the 20th. All right, so it'd be,
When would we finish? Will we try to do it again?
I think
If you have
we-
the board, if
yeah.
doing it by that, you may be able then to come back and catch it like in a May meeting,
okay.
and another hour, hour and a half, and you may get them hammered. Because a lot of it, I think, once you get going, I know Mr. English had sent some initial thoughts out on the goals, then you could set together face-to-face, talk through them, solidify them, and then, come back and take care of them.
Yeah.
My only concern is if we start with one group
Mhm.
and then after the election, we'll have a new person. So
Mhm.
if we do it beforehand, I'd like to make sure it's either all beforehand or,
Yeah, most likely all beforehand.
okay.
Before the next.
Before the next
board
election,
member's
yeah.
sworn in.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll have a change there too when we swear in board members.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion for the board goals? None? Any requests for agenda items, Ms. Myers?
I don't have any at this time.
Okay. Ms. Hart?
Not,
Nothing?
not agenda items, no.
Okay.
No.
Sure. Okay.
And I might make a comment on a number of the items that were brought up at the last meeting. That's why there's a number of reports in April to bring you all up to speed on those items.
Okay. All right. No agenda items addition. Any board comments?
I just had one comment. I was able to attend the retreat last Wednesday through Friday on the strategic plan, and it was fabulous. I was just amazed at everybody coming together. There was a number of people from the public, from the town, from the district, and it was just a really great experience. I was very happy that I was invited, and I really appreciate the time and effort that went into it.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just going to second what Miss Melissa said. It really was very exciting. I was happy all weekend, and even my kids misbehaving didn't bring me down. So it's an exciting time, and seeing the future and knowing where we're going, I'm very excited to see our next year get started and where we're heading. And the staff members that were there, I think we all had a blast. It was a lot of fun, a lot of work, but I think we got a lot of positive, a lot of good motivation. So, yay, thank you, Dr. Strike, for your vision, and this is great. And I do have one other comment. So I just wanted to thank Miss Cleota Epps for her fantastic job that she's done, and we truly value everything that she's done. I know she's not here tonight, but hopefully she can watch this. So, because I know all of us appreciated everything that she's done for her position and stepping up, and just, we really did appreciate her. We want to thank her.
That's good. Thank you. Sweet.
So just to piggyback on my colleagues, I did not get to attend the event, of course, but I had someone close to me attend the event, and he came back and he raved about Dr. Strike. He told us good hire. I said thank you. But more than that, he said the administration and staff of Little Elm ISD, he said our students are in good hands. He's projected, I got an action item from it actually because of but yes, he said that our students are in very good hands, so I just wanted to share that here openly today.
Thank you very much, Phil. Dr. Strike, do you have anything? Okay. Well, I can say by far I'm very happy and very proud of some of the things that are going on with the staff and the board support and some of the critical work that we're doing right now. Strategic plan is just critical to our future. It really will help us guide and focus our resources and identify areas for opportunities. It helps us solidify our core values, our mission in a coordinated way and organized so that the community is involved and everybody knows and we're all striving in the same direction. So we're all rowing in the same direction. So Dr. Strike, thank you so much for taking that charge. The plan you laid out is tremendous. Tremendous.
All I did is facilitate it. They laid the plan out. That was a hard role to play facilitator and then, step up and say what I need to say when I did. But I would tell you that's the third one that I've been involved with, which means well over 200 people that have been part of those processes in 3 different districts. And hands down, not even close, the other places I've been to the work that was done by these folks and just being able to come together and share. We had students that enlightened a lot of us with some of their comments. And so I think it was all the way through. We had 3 members of the town that in some cases that had children in the schools also kind of playing that dual role. And it was just kind of neat to see the whole community come together and the passion that everybody in the room had for making Little Elm better. And I won't mention his name right now because we're going to do a little special thing on him, but got an email that I had forwarded to, I think, the 3 of you today, from one of our students that served on the committee that talked about his own life and where he's headed. It's off to med school, actually, and he just said, there's lots of great things already happening in Little Elm. We just need to tell people about them.
Yeah.
And we've had that conversation. If you don't tell your own story, somebody else will,
That's right.
and it probably won't be the one that needs to be told.
That's right.
And so here's a 17-year-old, maybe 18-year-old student saying, there's great things happening. We just got to tell people about
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
we will.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And, I'm coming up on almost a year on the board, and the staff has just been tremendous. It has been tremendous. We've come a long way in such a short period of time. So I can't appreciate all the hard work that many of you have come through. So thank you very much for all of that. Give you a hand. All right. With that said, during the meeting is a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So moved. A second. All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned. 7:31.